And we are talking about Star Trek Picard, episode 302, Disengage. We're going to review it and do a breakdown of the episode starting now. Welcome to Nerd Social. I'm Nathan.
And I'm Kanda.
Hey, so the spoiler-free logline for this episode is aided by 7 of 9 and the crew of the USS Titan. Picard makes a shocking discovery that will alter his life and puts him in a collision course with the most cunning enemy he's ever encountered. Meanwhile, Raffi races to track a catastrophic weapon and collides with a familiar ally. It's just so conjure. What did you think of this episode?
Yeah, I think that they have continued on that sort of upward trajectory. Like the first episode had me hooked. This one was similar. You keep seeing bits more of the story. Like it's getting more complicated, more players, old faces appearing, familiar faces. And yeah, I am enjoying the way the story is unfolding this season. I had to, after watching this, had to go on and watch the next episode. But yeah, I think we started off thinking that Jean-Luc Picard was ready to just have a quiet life. And now that is clearly not happening here, and it's getting a lot more complicated. Dr. Crusher is back in his life, and that, like, the whole sort of mystery around that as it unfolds. And the villain we see here, I was really intrigued and really excited to see why this person is choosing Beverly and her son. But yeah,
it was a good episode. I think last week I said that if I had the two episodes together, I would have given it an 8. This is part of the reasons I would have given it an 8, and I think I give this one an 8. So under our rating system, it'd be like a road trip. So we definitely worth going to the movie theater and seeing it. They actually did screen these two episodes in California a couple weeks ago. For certain people, we weren't invited, but they had an overall premiere of these two episodes. So yeah, it was a really good episode. I think everyone is doing really good work here. Like you said, the new antagonist, I don't want to spoil too much about it, but I think it's been released in the press that it's played by Christopher Plummer's daughter, and he was one of the great Star Trek antagonists.
She was his daughter.
Yeah, Amanda Plummer. So she's doing a great job of chewing the scenery, just like when he played the villain in one of the best Star Trek movies.
I can see you, Kirk.
Chang.
Can you see me? Oh, now be honest, Captain. Warrior to warrior. You do prefer it this way, don't you? As it was meant to be. No peace in our time. Once more unto the breach. Dear friends. Tach pa! Tach beck!
So it was a really good episode. We get one big revelation, and then, of course, still more mysteries though to unfold, because we still don't necessarily know why things are happening the way that they're happening. And right now, the plot with Raffi isn't connecting with the plot with Picard yet, so we have to see where that leads. So yeah, it was a really good episode. I really enjoyed it. Definitely looking forward to the rest of the season based upon what spins out of this episode. All right, so I don't want to talk about this without spoilers, so I guess we can just jump into some spoiler talk. But if you enjoyed the conversation, please like, share, and subscribe. We really appreciate it. With that, spoilers ahead. Okay, I guess we can go in chronological order. It's so this actually starts with a title card that says 2 weeks ago, which I think might be an error. Hopefully they fix that. I'll actually send them an email tomorrow about that. It says 2 weeks ago in the title card, but like later on when it gets back to present day, Jack says that they were running for months.
Yes.
When they actually air this, because we're reviewing this before it's actually aired, hopefully they fix that. If those two discontinuities were farther apart, I probably wouldn't notice it, but it was like right after it that he was like, we've been running for months. So yeah,
maybe they've been running, and 2 weeks ago they didn't realize how deep whatever like the conspiracy or the hunt for them was, because when he says first it was Klingons, then it was the next group, so I guess they thought they were safe, and then I don't know, but I guess we have to figure out the timeline, because you do get the impression they've been under actually being aggressively chased for a lot longer than 2 weeks.
I think they mean it to be more than 2 weeks, so that title card needs to change. I watched this a few times just for our notes, and he specifically run down that it was the Finnish Rangers first, which is what we see in this first scene, this 2 weeks ago scene. The Finnish Rangers, then it was the Klingons showing up, and then it was some Starfleet officers. So it looks like whatever this conspiracy is, it's touching a lot of different organizations. But he started with Rangers, which is how we start this episode, with him basically bribing them with guns, and Ronald Ale, which shows up, I think, pretty much every show. But yeah, he was going to give them half of the guns to one warlord and half to the other warlord, so they can shoot at each other to make things more peaceful for the people there. And then he was going to give them 30%. But yeah, this is when the guy says to reach out to the marked woman and tell her that we found him. And then they jump back to the Ilios.
And also, you wonder because you see Jack Crusher in that moment being a little dodgy, right? So
very dodgy.
Why they're chasing him? But it still seems like an outside response to the particular type of activity you see him like bribing, like some Rangers, right? But it does paint a little bit more complicated a picture.
It does paint a more complicated picture of him, especially later on when Vadic shows up and says that he's wanted and she's a bounty hunter. And he has all these aliases that you really don't know as an audience member what kind of person he is. Like he definitely has medical supplies on the ship, because that's one of the things that the Sunrise Rangers found on the ship. But is he selling medical supplies? It really is a really humanitarian mission. You don't really know. He seems a bit of a scoundrel or a rogue kind of character. And the actor is actually doing a really good job here playing this character. His name is Spealers. It's Peters. He's playing roguish and charming. Yeah, he's hitting all the right notes for this person who you don't necessarily want to trust, because his answers are sometimes a little bit too clever by half. Like he definitely thinks that he's charming as he's speaking, which makes you look a little askance at him. So yeah, and when Vadic shows up and says he's wanted and they actually pull up his rap sheet, you can see why Shaw is. There's 500 people on this ship.
Yeah.
You're not even supposed to be here. We got called into this situation under false pretenses. My priority of our souls on this ship, not this random dude. Not
in a heroic at all.
Not interested in this heroic, not interested in this guy who says that he's Beverly Crusher's son, because Beverly at this point is incapacitated. After they transport them over, there's a whole back and forth with that on the ship as well, because the Shadows, after this first destroyed, and the power is down to 15%, and they put up transport inhibitors. That's how Picard and Wreck and Doe, they went jacked. They nearly forget about them when the Titan shows up and rashes
them. Yeah.
But yeah, the back and forth with Picard and also with Seven in Shaw's ready room. She says to him, you could be the hero that saved heroes, or you could be remembered for being the captain who let two legends die. So yeah, she definitely saved them, but also she's at the end of his patience.
Yeah.
So yeah, by the middle of this episode, I think he released her duty after he finds the rap sheet. She talked him into doing this. To save this criminal, basically, to put them in a more dangerous situation. So he released her duty. Yeah.
And puts them, because at this point, because you have this strong display of power by Vadic and her ship, the Shrike, that she later discloses that, where she basically using a tractor beam throws
the helios at them.
At them, and everybody's like, hell, what did she just do?
Yeah. Not only that, like you said, when Amanda Plummer is chewing at the scenery, very laid back in the chair. He's like, I'm gonna lower my shields and let you
with that situation for yourself, so you understand that you're not getting out of this unscathed.
Lieutenant Mara at Tactical, the Jurin at Tactical, this is 40 isolytic burst warheads, 88 plasmids, torpedoes, 436 photon torpedoes, 18 antimatter missiles, and then it goes all the way to the end, and something loaded in primary position they don't even know about with that thing in primary position. So yeah, then I think they have 5 or 10 minutes left, and then she calls back and just explains what the name of the ship is, like you said, the Shrike. Scavenger bird. Small scavenger bird. So yeah, she's very scary and very intimidating. Also, she seems like a little bit of a crazy person.
But methodical, right?
Yeah.
Which I think, and very calculating. And it's harder, I think, to go up against a foe who is that calculating. Yeah. As they're really just she has the upper hand. So I get the frustration, and yeah.
See what else happens in this episode. So we have the other plot that's happening is Metalis Prime. Rafi is kind of reeling from the terrorist attack, and she's kicking herself because she didn't realize where the attack was going to happen before it happened. Although going back, we criticized her last week. This is, according to her, it's like a low-level recruitment center, so no one would actually think this is not necessarily top of mind of places where they would attack. Yeah, here's my notes. She's at a mid-level Starfleet recruitment bureau. It's unlikely it's not here. And then her her handler tells her to disengage, which is where the title of the episode comes from, and says, do not join the dead, and requested in-person meet, but was denied. So she sees that this broker, Sneed, was responsible, said that he sold it to the Romulan rebel, but he did give up his higher level contact. So she goes rogue, she goes there, she speaks to her ex-husband, Jay. That conversation was really interesting because,
no one is wrong
in that conversation, but I could see where he's coming from. I could see where he seems like a jerk to give her that choice. But if she's chasing that rabbit hole, I wouldn't want her around my son either, because she knows what kind of guys needed it.
I guess I was just surprised because she was proven right in the first season, right? And I guess I got the sense that maybe the relationship between her son was a little less strained. But I guess also maybe they don't know, or there's not an awareness that she wasn't crazy. There was a conspiracy. There was an actual conspiracy, and she was right. But then I guess it also doesn't mean much in the context
of this. They're very familiar situations. I think about this a lot of times when we talk about great people have like very great public personas, but their family suffer. Like Nelson Mandela's family, like her his kids, I think they didn't have a great time. Like she might be exonerated and she might be a hero with Starfleet, but she also was a drug addict for years and neglected her son. So it doesn't really matter that she was right. He still remembers that. He still remembers, which is what her ex-husband was saying.
Yeah.
So in this situation, she is trying to do her job, and he gives her a terrible choice. But like I said, I don't think him giving the choice is a bad thing, and her choosing to do her job was a bad thing. But like, it's more of her choosing to do her job, or choosing anything but her family, anything but her son, because she has this higher purpose. Yeah.
Yes, and if she doesn't do her job, she might also not have a family. We don't know
how big this is, or
how serious. Situation.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's difficult. It's like I said, it's a jerky thing for him to do, but like I said, none of us were actually there. She was spiraling, like strung out and running down rabbit holes for years and neglecting their son. So from this perspective, he doesn't want more of that chaos in his son's life.
Answers.
So yes. So then she goes and meets Sneed, and the guy who plays Sneed, it was a very interesting Ferengi. They changed the makeup a little bit on the Ferengi here, but what's typical? So Ferengi, he doesn't call them humans, but does seem to be interested in human artifacts. Yeah, and he knows immediately that she's lying. He's basically just playing with her, and actually he makes her take drugs, which makes me think about that TNG episode where everyone was a little high on that game that was like spraying things into their eyes. That's what made me think of that episode. Yeah, she's nearly killed because he killed Toluco. Like she said, "Oh, I work for Toluco," so that's interesting because this is Toluco. It's on his head. Do you think I wouldn't have tied up my loose ends or sold out the big fish and not engaged in my reputation? So yeah, he was steps ahead of her even before she even showed up. He just wanted to entertain what she wanted to ask, because before she came in, he didn't know exactly what she wanted, but he even had the very good line. No one comes in here asking nothing for something. If they get offended, it's a very good line. So he actually lays out what she wants, and then she lies about being one of Luco's people, which is kind of a weird stretch of a lie. She already said it earlier in the episode. She said that he was just a trigger man that's never been top of anyone's most wanted list. So why would he even have people? So,
right.
So
he is people.
Yeah, he is people. Yeah, that's why it was a bit straining credulity that he was the person behind the attack in the first place to her.
But I think that sort of desperation makes her not maybe think clearly and not act
rationally. Yeah. So again, I think they kind of redeemed her by saying that it was a low-level facility at the beginning of this episode, but doing this like gambit against orders and putting yourself at risk, so that Worf has to come in and basically save her before she dies makes her look a bit haphazard in her methods. But yeah, so we get Worf, which, like I said last week, we weren't hiding it much with all the warrior talk.
But it was also because when he said, "Do not join the dead," I guess.
Yeah, early in the episode when he said, "Do not join the dead," but like I said last week when he said that this is an active warrior, that's what I was. Yeah. It was like a big hint that it was from the other end.
Yeah, there were hints, but also a calmer Worf.
I mean, he doesn't really have any lines in this episode, but he definitely looks like a more aged guy and more centered guy. I will say that he moves. Michael Dorn is like 60-something, I think nearly 70-something, and he's definitely slower. And you can see that. So like having him do all these action scenes is a little ridiculous, but it's like what Worf is known for. So you have to do some of this stuff. But yeah, he's a Klingon, and in canon they're supposed to live pretty much as long as Vulcans do. But like I said, the actor Michael Dorn is still a human 70-something-year-old moving slow compared to the way.
But he looked great.
He did look great.
Yeah.
They did a really good job with the makeup and also graying him out and everything.
The styling of it was
it was very distinguished the way that they decided to style. And also very distinguished. The uniform or the clothing that they put on him is also very subdued and very Klingon business suit almost.
Because I think the Klingons in that era were a lot more gaudy.
It was like cloaks and giant chainmail and like a very intimidating to make their body look even larger than they already were. They already had big bodies. But yeah, it was a very subdued, very clean line. He has a new weapon that's more like a sword than a backlit as well. Yeah, it was an interesting introduction, and so we get more of him in the next episode. That was the Lost War Metellus Prime subplot, and that's how that ended in this episode. But back on the ship, it's basically just a stalemate back and forth. He goes, actually, before Picard goes to break to talk to Jack, there's this conversation or this exchange with Riker and Turbolip, and he's like, "Why are you dancing around this?" And Picard is like, "Even if he is Beverly's son, there's all these crimes." Riker's like, "That's not what I'm talking about." Something honestly you don't see what I see. And then he goes to the brig. Jack gives his defense of himself. It's like his very roguish defense about the money is money, and currency is currency, and medicine is medicine, and medicine is not free. So sometimes they deal in arms, sometimes they deal in other things because they're just trying to do the best for other people. This is not something that is new, actually. We've actually visited this at a couple places in the last couple seasons of Picard, because that's why Seven was with the Fenris Rangers. There are parts of the galaxy that outside of Starfleet's jurisdiction that people still live and still need help. help. So I guess they were on kind of like a humanitarian rogue jaunt across the galaxy to the last. I don't know. He's 20, maybe 23. He's acting like a doctor, so maybe for the last 5 or 6 years or whatever since he's been out of school. Yeah.
Which also get the sense that, I mean, they're also like helping places that they say the Federation has abandoned. We talked about, or we reviewed Lower Decks, where that was the mission for those ships, or like they were planning to swing back. So you have this situation where the Federation is growing, but there are gaps in how they like
support the
they are providing enough support to new planets that join or that they encounter.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of room for things to people fall through the crack.
Yeah, exactly. So there's back and forth, like I said, in the break, and then Riker goes to sick bay to go revive Beverly. And all throughout the episode, they're trying to convince Shaw that we can't really give this guy up regardless of his crimes because he's obviously going to get killed by these people. That ship is like a guillotine is what Riker says. Yeah, I think all concepts would had at the end of the episode where Jack releases himself by tricking the guard. And they think they can try to escape, but Seven finds him in the transporter room trying to transport over to the other ship to save his mother. And Shaw is like, you know what, let him, because still 500 people here that I'm responsible for. And he even says to Picard, clear your conscience, whoever this kid is, or might be, he's not worth the lives of my crew. And then Beverly comes on the bridge and looks at Picard.
I mean, the two of them, he didn't say a word.
No, they didn't. Yeah.
Yeah, but he understands, like, it's his son.
Yeah.
I guess he must have.
He was a little bit of denial, and kind of ridiculous denial, but I don't know. It's been 20 years, and just like knowing that you have an adult son that you didn't know maybe anyone would react that way for a short period of time. It's only been hours since you met this guy. Accepting that this person is your child is a bit of a leap. So yeah, I can understand his reluctance at the beginning, but like when she came and she gave him the look, and it was like back and forth, she was like a little bit ashamed, and he was like a little taken aback, didn't say anything. Like you said, but you gotta get what was being communicated. And then the guard says, belay the order to transport over, lock down everything, lock down the shuttles. And then he says, the boy stays here. And Shaw says, you're gonna get this all killed. Why are you doing this? Because he's my son. And so like, when I first watched this, I was like, he doesn't really have the authority to do this. He's a retired admiral, but Shaw backs up the call because he says his son. After that, Shaw says tactical full power to shields, and then he orders the Force to get ready to fly and then stand by to execute commands. And I think they shoot and then fly to the nebula. Yeah, and the cackling from that at the end of the episode is just like all of them. Like it cuts to black and you still hear her cackling. It's an awesome way to end the episode. It's a very ominous way to end the episode as well.
It is.
Yeah. Why did you slice this? I wanted you to do this. Is going to be more fun for me. Yeah. She's really exceptional. I think she's one of the better villains that we had in recent years on all of Trek. Yeah. Is there anything else that we missed in the conversation?
I think we covered everything. It was a really exciting, I think, like a fast-paced episode. There's a lot happening. I don't think we missed anything.
I guess the only thing to really talk about is the fact that this is a very similar story beat to Kirk. So he had a son that he didn't know about as well in one of the movies. So this might be something that people don't like. I will say without giving up anything in the future, because we have seen some episodes in the future that to make this make sense, they have to address it in a full-throated way. And again, I won't say whether or not they do, but I'm just saying don't ball off now and just throw the remote control by the television.
I totally forgot about that. The movie Kirk, but
so I can see people being turned off. They just rip it off. I forget the name of the movie off the top of my head, where the Genesis planet. I think it was Star Trek 2. No, not Star Trek 2. They killed his son in that same movie. So you wrote about him and they killed him in the same movie.
Yeah, it was really dramatic.
Admiral, David is dead.
Klingon bastard, you've killed my son. You Klingon bastard.
Yeah, so I can see people having an issue with that, but like I said, I think that the producers of the show also know that, so they have to write something to make it make sense. So yes, and we will see if they do that in the future weeks.
If they achieve that.
Yeah, all right. So that's what we think about this episode.
Let us know
what you think. So please comment down below, like,
share, and subscribe,
and we will see you next time. Thanks. Bye.